picks the pocket of Forge very quick in transition, and just as you think it was going to open up, just took an extra second. Ubrick was closed down. Great spot for Verhoeven at the edge of the box. Pick up that second ball. Nice strike. It's a save you'd expect Henry to make.
Marching their way down into York United territory as Bobby Smirniotis looks on from the dugout, saying, "I have trust in the players to go out and have the solutions. We talked about different aspects of the game and what solutions will be needed, and I think they're doing a good job of that."
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Smirniotis' side sets up today. Are they going to look to dominate possession and really move York around, or sit off a little bit and look to counter? Scored three different goals against York United in their last game. One on the counter, one right through the heart of York United, and one built out wide. So they can hurt you in different types of ways.
Well, for Jimmy Brennan, says you see so much of Forge, you end up knowing what they're having for breakfast. It becomes a bit more tactical, trying to find certain weaknesses they have, but the players know exactly who they are playing against.
First goal's important.
Absolutely.
I think a young team, too, they're just excited to play. They bring so much energy that regardless of their opponent, they just want to go out and play.
Cross deflecting off Dominic Sator, loose in the box. Navarro reaches out to clean it up. Matusala was not on the same page as Daniel Crutzen. Finally, Garvin goes up to take it. Samuel up top. Didi Nabzi standing his ground, not letting Jonathan Grant get in behind him. Press applied immediately after conceding possession by Forge, and then a foul. Grant and Nabzi getting tangled up. Grant and Rivero, excuse me, getting tangled up on the far side touchline.
A lot of players in the middle of the park, Adam. Both sides with inverted wingers or natural 10s playing. Width will come from all four fullbacks, really. Forge in a nice 5-2-3 shape. I think it's been smart from Jimmy Brennan, Adam, to having conceded 8 in their last 3 games. Just play with an extra midfielder. You got Johnston up top, gives you a little bit of a screen ahead of a ball player like Verhoeven, and you know you're going to get endless work rate from Toussaint.
Absolutely. That's a lovely ball from Matusala into the path of Navarro. Jordan Wilson came over to defend, and perhaps some not so fond flashbacks of Jordan Wilson going into that exact position as he took down Stefan Karajovanovic twice. 5 times really throughout the game, but 2 times he was called on the PK. Just Navarro losing his footing just before Wilson arrived at the scene.
Be important for Wilson to play well today with Thompson back on the bench. Be a huge lift for the changing room with Jimmy Brennan.
Well, Dominic Sator definitely has stepped up in Roger Thompson's absence, but there aren't many people who understand the culture that we talk about, that shift in the identity that York United is trying to bring more than Roger Thompson. Wilson comes over to get there before Paulo Sebac could reach out and grab it. 6 minutes down already. It's a good ball from Isaiah Johnston, but Alvaro Rivero was well outside the touchline and quite a few meters to make up to try and keep it with York. Just drifting in behind the second last defender, Paulo Sebac, the Belgian that time. Thumbs up right away tells you that he wasn't sure when he started his run if he towed long enough.
Player's so good in between lines. I like to see him run in behind sometimes like that. He's not going to run away from anyone, Adam. Maybe create some space for Navarro beside him or Pacius to come off the top.
Well, and before Rubens Pacius really entered the fold here for Forge, we saw Bobby experimenting with a few different formations, and we saw Sebac find some real good success at a false 9. So there's certainly some versatility here, and then you added a signing that, with all the respect to Rubens Pacius, almost no one had heard of, comes in and scores goals almost every time he touches the ball, and it's just another layer, and you think, oh great, another weapon for Forge.
It's probably what Jimmy Brennan's thinking.
Yes.
I love watching Passius play. He's almost an old-fashioned number 9 that just lives on the last line. Athletic, powerful, gets into good spots, doesn't overthink it, plays on instinct a little bit.
Good shout from Gareth Wheeler in the pre-match show, comparing him to Emery Welshman, and Forge not having a player quite like that since he was with the team in 2019. It's remarkable how we're just over the midway mark of the 3rd season. You can go back through the rosters from the very beginning, and some of the players you forget because there's been so many in and out. And Welshman, hard to forget, especially considering how well Forge performed in the first year. But it's great to see the league grow. Verhoeven showing for an option, receiving the pass and losing it moments later. Roman Cisse had his pass picked off by Alvaro Rivero. Max Ferrari wheeling out to the right. He's found some space, and that's where the pass is headed. Isaiah Johnston running towards the penalty spot. Ferrari's shot blocked by Matusala. Cisse and Becker combining, and a little bit too slow on their way out of the defensive third. York get it right back. There's Novigensa. For Toussaint, good bit of passing. Enza spinning shoulder to shoulder with Matusala, gets half a step. Stops up, keeps it in play, and gets around Matusala, taken down. Very well earned from the right back.
Outstanding for Mensah. I watched him play live against Masters. He was an absolute handful. Shows tons of grit there to just make a play almost out of nothing. You can see Smirniotis. Body language, we had him, he shouldn't have gotten out of that. Matusala, really a right-sided player playing at left back today, or left wing back.
Well, it is Noah Verhoeven and Max Ferrari. Noah's going to take this himself. His cross headed back into touch immediately.
Jimmy Brennan will be happy with this start. They look dangerous in transition.
They own the best scoring chance of the match as well.
Pitch looks a little bit slow. It'll be difficult for sides to break one another down in open play.
Well, it's another great run from Max Ferrari. And last off of Matusala. Yes, it is. Corner kick to come, Terry.
But what it will do is it'll hold up when the ball goes in behind just like that. Difficult for defenders to deal with, especially when it spin off the turf. I think the wind's behind Forge right now as well. It'll just hold up in behind their back line.
The first corner kick of the match comes just after 10 minutes. A cluster around the penalty spot. Verhoeven's cross falls in behind everybody. Max Ferrari tracking back. Toussaint. Switched out, Johnston keeping an eye on it, can't get there in time. Cias finds Becker. All the way out to the outside, full steam ahead. Rapello Sebac with Toussaint chasing him down as well.
Sebac doesn't want that ball into space. He wants it to his feet. A little bit too much pepper seed from Becker.
The summer heat hanging on, clicking to a final few days. 25 degrees, feeling like 29 today in Hamilton. Steady wind of 13 kilometers an hour out of the southwest. Partly cloudy skies with the sun poking through here and there. Zator first to lay claim to that one. Does that catch the hand of Noah Verhoeven? Yes, it does. And they take it short. Abzi, one of 3 players named to Ollie and KJ's Gatorade Team of the Week from York United, along with Max Ferrari and Michael Petrasso.
He's maturing nicely, Abzi. Better decision-making on the ball. Got a wand of a left foot. Very good at delivering on the run as well. It's a difficult technique. And becoming more reliable defensively. prefer him in that left back role early on in the year with Tariq Mohammed now in the squad, who's playing as a left winger. Prefer him a little bit deeper.
Well, this is a better spell being put together by Forge. Deep inside York United territory, 12 minutes down.
It's exactly what Forge do, Adam. They just pin you in and go to work. It's almost methodical at times. So good in wide channels.
Well, Kyle Becker was asking for that throw. He got it. An Aaron header, though. Ashnodi Janssen steps up. Close quarters for both sides.
Big 18 days for Forge. A couple of Champions League games. Big game in the Canadian Championship. Top of the table, Pacific. As a player, it's great when you have a couple weeks of just pure games to look forward to. Just approach it a little bit different. Everything just sharpens a little bit.
Well, I think the sides that failed to advance beyond the preliminary round of the Canadian Championship are a little bit jealous that there's going to be some difference, some different teams, different competitions for Forge, and it's very well earned. The only real familiarity will come from Valor, though they haven't seen them since the kickoff. Dangerous pass that's intercepted by Eliman Cisse with Kyle Becker to his left inside the 18. Cisse towards the byline, sneaks in behind Ingham. It's loose. Becker first touch, spins out of trouble, still with Becker. And the other captain, Dominic Zator, gets in the way to keep that away from Nate Ingham. Max Ferrari followed Isaiah Johnston closely. He's taken down. Carly Shaw McLaren plays the advantage. A little poke pass from Johnston right into the orange wall. And now Forge's turn on the counter.
Yeah, just keep going, Isaiah Johnston. Keep driving at the heart of that back line. Something will open up a better picture. How good was that from Cisse? Just goes past Abzi.
Well, as reliable as Jordan Wilson has been, that is one of his detracting factors, is his speed. Once he sort of commits to a position, you got a player like Bacias who will just run right through his legs.
Nice cut back.
Well, it's a good ball from Cisse, but a better reaction from Mensah at the far post. Otherwise, that was a tap-in.
I agree with you, Jenks. There's no in-between with Wilson. He's all in. He's committed. It's frustrating, Navarro. Been there where it's just like slow motion when it goes through your legs like that. I think the key moment for this afternoon's game is transition. When you win it, can you break when the opposition isn't organized? See, both teams are playing for that a little bit.
We got the transitions, and both teams are pretty apt to the set piece as well, Terry.
Good point, good point. Two quality deliveries as well in Becker and Verhoeven.
When it gets far enough down the pitch, always Abzi is a threat with the left foot.
Jeez, you see that wind?
Well, it's steady at 13 like I was saying, but it's gusting up to 35. Similar story as it was in the nation's capital earlier.
Great finish from Morelli.
Which one?
Sound like his agent.
I'll take commission on that. That could be a payday if he keeps this up.
The second one.
Bounces off Crutzen. It's Isaiah Johnston. Abzi sneaking forward to the left side and receives the pass as Johnny Grant comes out to seal him off. Back to the left, Abzi still on the ball. And Carly Shaw McLaren has pointed to the spot. Johnny Grant got into the shins of Diadine Abzi. And the second PK in as many games here on this CPL Saturday. Another early decision as well. Let's get a look, Terry.
Here we take a closer look at it. Does he just catch him? Does he step on him? My first instinct was it wasn't a penalty. I'd love another look at it. It's good play from Abzi. That little stall, he goes Richie Larea on Grant. Just freezes him. I think it's a harsh one. It's tough to see from that angle how much contact there was.
Well, it is the 78th penalty in league history, and it will be Alvaro Rivero to break the deadlock. Stopped by Henry. Read well and denied. Well, whether it was a penalty or not, Tristan Henry doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Keeps York off the board. Now they have a set piece to defend, this time from the corner.
That is a great save. Massive moment. It's a tough one, low. Gets down really quick.
That's further to the corner, Terry. I think it's in. But credit to Henry where it's due.
A shout out to Samuel as well for following that rebound in.
Wilson, Verhoeven outside of the left boot. Sent that to outer space.
That could be something to galvanize Forge a little bit, get them going. I think the penalty was harsh.
You want another look, Terry? Here's another look.
Yeah, it's not a penalty. Justice from the football gods.
Just in behind, and only just. There aren't many players in this league who can be at full sprint pretty much from first whistle to last whistle and do it with a smile on their face, but the acceleration from Elimane Cisse is such a dangerous tool in his tool belt.
Especially running from deep as well. Unsung hero. Does the simple things very well. Brings it every game. And he's had to be patient at times just to get into the 11 consistently. Top professional. Those are the moments, though, for Jimmy Brennan that must frustrate him. What a great opportunity away from home to go up 1-0 and sit a little bit deeper, spend more energy protecting that lead. Forge have to open up a little bit more space in transition. Huge thought from Tristan Henry.
Well, Dunfield, we know your stance on it. No penalty, but what is that fine from the offending player in the box? Is it a steak dinner with a bottle of wine? What's the running rate, or what was the running rate?
If you don't convert?
Not, well, I guess that's a good point, but to foul in the box that early.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't think Grant's trying to make a play on it. I don't think you have to make a play on it. Just keep him wide. There's not even really a tangle of the
turned
legs.
Over, here's Josh Navarro off the post. Well, two high-quality opportunities on either end, this time from the counter for Forge, and they're still asking the questions. He goes down easy, and Carly-Sean McLaren will not be fooled by that. Let's see where the contact arises. He's holding his nose, but that's the turnover.
You can see Navarro there. He's inverted. He's in a great spot to spy that weak side. One touch out of his feet. Just drags it a little bit off the post. And you know why he goes over like that is because a penalty was given by Sean McLaren for something pretty similar.
Saying that's the standard. We're going to push for that. Macias gets his body in the way. Zator miss hit on the clearance attempt. Now Cisse for Sebac in behind. Navarro just a step behind. Right idea, though.
Is that because of the wind a little bit? Picked up some speed. Nice little slip pass. I love the idea. Again, all these opportunities coming from turnovers.
Crutzen able to head it down to the path of Kyle Becker. His searching pass to the outside left for the winger, Josh Navarro. Takes the deflection, and it's Crutzen.
See Passius' arms just flapping them. He was on the opposite side of the field. It's only a pass Becker would see.
Ferrari toes the line very well. He's forward with Isaiah Johnston. Also has Rivero out to the left. Right place, right time as Ferrari gets it back. That service out towards Julian Ulbricht. Caught a Forge defender. York thought it was off a hand. The only person whose opinion it really matters, the referee decided no. Ensa goes forward. The flag came up. Gabriel Lemieux. Closest look at the challenge. It's Ensa who absorbs it again. bit clumsy, Terry.
Ensa's pace is a little deceptive. He's so good at just nipping ahead of his opponent to get to it.
Not that Jordan Wilson had much more time than that, but perhaps could have settled it down. He tries to go first time, and as we saw from Verhoeven a few minutes ago, that outside of the boot and sends it slicing away.
I think it always goes through center backs' heads that it's important to finish the attack if you're Wilson, because if you miss, at least I can reset back into my slot. But if I get caught on it, take an extra touch, that could be problems.
That's a very good point. Ferrari continues to make the early meters. Ensa, curler as well, but curling to the left again.
Confidence is high when you're taking that on, coming in on his left Duke. He's a weapon from right back.
Abzi does well to keep it in. Rivero now. Back with Theodine Abzi. Well, Abzi wasn't able to keep it in the first time. Sean McLaren missed the flag initially.
Surprised Halifax let Ensa go. Thought he was outstanding in his time there.
No doubt he's missed now both Ensa brothers. With York United now, Felix, he's been dealing with an injury that's kept him out this year. Toussaint a little bit lazy on that pass. It's intercepted. Navarro, he gets a bump from Ensa. Now Forge, this is definitely a shout. I mean, you don't want to start seeing penalties handed out left and right, but there's no less on that challenge than there was on the other side of the pitch. Lovely ball that's going to bounce in front of Samuel. Rivero runs into the right shoulder.
That's outstanding from Samuel. I couldn't have said it better, Adam. There's definitely a bump. And if the threshold's the first penalty, then that has to be a penalty.
Julie Noberg trying to be a little bit too cute that time. Becker out to his left. It's Navarro. Sebak shows. Read well by Wilson. Now Verhoeven dribbling away. Three options to the left for Noah Verhoeven. Still on the ball. Takes a deflection on its way towards Isaiah Johnston. Counter-attack, counter-attack, counter-attack. Rubens Pasillas. Sator stops him up. Rubens steps on the ball on his way down.
Yeah, I thought Pasillas could have attacked the end line. Here we get another look at the penalty.
Or non-penalty.
Yeah, it's probably a non-penalty. It's aggressive for Mensah.
Grant finds Ashinodi Janssen.
I'd imagine there's a gasp of breath from Jimmy Brennan. Oh!
Is that what it sounded like?
Yeah.
Tell you, these field mics are impressive. Kevin Miche Matusala just over the top and in behind Rubens Pasillas. I think there's a lot of credit that has to go to that young man. Well, both of them, Matusala, who's looking really good, the draft pick out of Concordia, but for Pasillas to come into a club who has achieved so much, going out across the continent right now, across the country as well in cup and league competitions. And I mean, he has a very simple, is almost condescending, so I don't mean to say simple, but it's a very straightforward role, but he's executed it really well. He's got the system, he's bought in, and clearly won the trust of his teammates so far.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say his skill set is he brings legs to the front line, and he's a little bit different to Mo Babuli. Really threat ends in behind opposition back lines. Matusala, every time I watch him play, I'm impressed. Versatile. Play fullback and play a little bit higher up the pitch either side. Maybe you could play at center back.
Grant bails out and finds Becker. Now Sebak played in with Cedric Toussaint. Pushing him back towards the touchline. I feel like Metusala, you might have a better read of this than I would, but it seems like the kind of person or the kind of player that Bobby Smirniotis loves to have, just that raw, untapped potential that Smirniotis can sort of mold into the kind of player that he needs right now, because he just seems to take instructions and be like, okay, that's what I got to do, and it just implements it like that.
Yeah, he's in the right place. He's top gaffer, Smirniotis. His ideas are clear. He's an excellent teacher, and I don't think I've seen Metusala make the same mistake twice. He just continues to grow, and I think he'll fill into his body a little bit as well as he gets a little bit older.
Zator trying to pick out Ulbrich. Dashnodi Janssen did well to come forward, halt that clearance in its tracks.
And I think it's part of the culture at Forge, is you'll be able to learn from the Kyle Beckers, the Samuels, the Crudsons, the Janssens. There's some top pros around him as well.
Iman Cisse from just in front of the fourth official. He picked out Becker. Pass out to the right, nearly intercepted by the eagle-eyed Deodine Abzi, but Johnny Grant had a window. Closed down quickly. Good defending by Toussaint.
Brave pass from Crutzen across the pitch. That's what Toussaint does, doesn't he? He just locks onto you. Loves a tackle.
Inching ever closer to the byline. Macias leaves it for Johnny Grant. Becker again calling for a deep throw, and again receives it, keeps it in just in time. Zator, an important step. And Terry, when Zator was announced, how did that change your perception of this team? Because it felt like it filled a really good hole for them, and obviously it was a bit shocking to see him leave Cavalry, but he brings an element that I think York was missing.
Yeah, it's a big move. I think if I'm bringing Zator on board, you know, I think he tried it. I don't think it's a secret to get over to Europe. It didn't quite work out. He's now available, and he probably has a choice of clubs to go to, and the fact that York United were in for him, they were able to get it over the line, it is very important for the club, especially with so many young players. He comes back home to Ontario, so I like the move. But it's important that he's still young enough where his game can grow, he can get better, and as long as his attitude's right and he is a top professional, I think it's a great signing.
30 minutes down, here's a drinks break. Let's try and listen in. This is Deodine Abzi dancing about, winning the foul. This is the most dramatic play of the first 45, and for her credit, Sean McLaren did not hesitate. Neither did Tristan Henry, going right the whole way. Alvaro Rivero denied.
Do you think it looked as though he was going right all day?
I think so. I think I've seen way too many goalkeepers in the amount of games I've called in this league. When they bounce left, they're always springing back. But that's what I said in terms of, I think if Rivero has that more towards that post, it gets him behind Henry, but I think he had him figured out.
So you're saying Henry was always going right?
Correct.
I'm with you, I agree. I thought Rivero shaped like he was going to smash it, and at the last minute tried to wrap it into that bottom corner.
Well, out of the drinks break, quarter of an hour to try and break the tie before the interval. I think Forge just asserting themselves, their game plan a little bit more the past 15 minutes or so.
I think it's a difficult move for Zator, just going back to that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
A Calgary boy. maybe Cavalry don't quite have the same cap space to bring him back to leave Alberta to come to Ontario. It's not an easy move. You know, he'd established himself. He'd built a lot of credit at Cavalry. And you're coming into a little bit of a project at York United. That would excite me if I'm Zator. You know, I would be excited for that big TFC match.
Yes, absolutely. Well, he's on the verge. There's not much keeping him left in the CPL. It seemed like a play, Terry, where Johnson had his mind made up that he wanted that pass to go and he just waited too long. Samuel scooping up, trying to go in behind Abzi.
This just in, Come On have announced a multi-year deal as the official sports betting and online casino partner of the Canadian Premier League. In other news...
Come on!
Come on. Come on.
Come on!
Come on!
Come on!
Come on!
Come on! Yeah! Come on! Come on!
Yes!
Come on! Come on!
Come on, sports betting and online casino.
Well, in case you didn't know, it is the Come On match of the week. Just over 10 minutes away from halftime. We'll head back to studio with Wheels, Ollie, and KJ. Get their thoughts on this chess match of an opening 45.
I think Forge are just growing into the game nicely here. Port at York, at a minimum, get to halftime 0-0.
Good touch from Johnston to get in
Outstanding.
behind Crutzen. Out to the right, Ferrari. Three players heading towards this spot. Ends up providing a short option. Ferrari dancing about around Matusila, lifting it towards the back post. It will stay in. Abzi can't get there before Grant, though.
So hard to read Ferrari. You don't know which way he's gonna go. What a chop that was. Looked like he was gonna shape it in with his left. Cross just a touch heavy. Speaking of next level, I wonder if he could make the leap to MLS one day.
Well, whether it's Major League Soccer or not, you almost have to wonder it's who's going to go first. Abzi, Ferrari, definitely some options.
What's great in CPL is they're playing every week. Each week they're getting a little bit better, making those marginal gains. So when they do go up, they've had 100 games under their belt maybe.
Josh Navarro, Terry, has stayed on side. A heavy touch with the head. I thought he had just snuck in behind and started from an offside position, but just as York starts to pick up some possession and some time, some confidence, they almost concede on the counter.
Just absolutely switched off. It's a long ball forward, direct play from Forge, and Navarro's in. Showed nice pace to get away from York United's back line. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm surprised he went with his head.
Well, Becker makes that pass the hard way. And this time, Pasillas runs in behind.
It's dangerous what York United are doing. They're playing a high line. There's some wind as well, which any slip pass through often is gonna roll to the goalkeeper. But if Forge do time it and get it right, you're in. Nice read from Ingham.
In case you joined us late, or you haven't seen the lineups yet, officially Mo Babouli is listed as an outfield sub. See how long of a shift, if at all, Smirniotis wants to give him down the stretch here. He's certainly a key that can unlock a defense.
Yeah, when you say chess match, I think Smirniotis has kept Babouli. You've got Chaudière on the bench as
That's
well.
a booking for sure.
Got a couple of weapons. Nice call.
I mean, you don't have to be an expert. I've called some near 50 CPL games this year, but I think that's first time I could get that one. Just frustrated and kicks out. It's the second one. Terry, you got to remember too, I just did a solo game because apparently you only work single days.
Oh,
you
here
only
we
work
go.
single shifts. So I had to be play-by-play and analyst the last time out. So I'm at full speed, buddy.
All right, Mr. 50 Caps.
Oh, look at the seas parting for Johnny Grant. Oh, and Sean McLaren, she's going back to her pocket again.
Just overruns it a little bit there. It's like a runaway train once he picks up speed, Grant. It's a little bit leaner this year. He's had some tough hamstring injuries.
Zator finally up to his feet.
It's horrible. I've been there where Zator is, and you know your opponent's overrun it, but you're gonna have to take one from the team here.
Body on the line.
Yeah. Having said that, I'm normally the other guy overrunning it.
Yeah. It's funny, every time I see those plays, it kind of reminds me of other. I know Ollie Platt is not a rugby fan, so I'll use an American football analogy, but it's like if there was no fair catch, and you have to catch the ball, and
That's
you
right,
know that
yeah.
there's just a locomotive coming for you. But or in rugby, you're the fullback, and it's just booting away, and you're like, well, if I don't catch this, it's back behind me, so it's gonna hurt.
Nice analogies.
Casillas off the thigh, deflected. The clearance attempt from Abzi as Navarro out to the left. That's where the pass goes. Chested down, Navarro! Oh, so close to that near side. A rare mistake from the fullback for York United, and that nearly cost them.
Watch this change of pace from Casillas, and then really soft feet to just lay it into the pass of Navarro. He takes it in stride really well. Top defending from Mensa to take away the angle. Can't quite bring it back on the half volley. There's that spark from Casillas up top.
York holding a slim 53 to 47% possession advantage over Forge. Passing pretty close to split right down the middle. 2 shots on target from the visitors, just the 1 from Forge.
Max Ferrari looks lively, looks bright down York's right-hand side.
Zatora couldn't make a meal of that. Cisse, ambitious but aggressive.
Dropped too quick for him. Just snatched at it. Fans love him.
Well, in a blue-collar town like Hamilton, you love a blue-collar player.
After a bright start, Abzi and so we haven't seen a whole bunch of them getting forward as an attacking weapon. Ubrick's been very quiet up top. Not sure where the goal's coming from for York United.
Oh, that could be trouble. Henry just got cleaned out by his own teammate.
Thought about it, he wanted to flop
Oh,
over,
yeah.
didn't he?
Oh,
And then
yeah.
he's like, oh, no, maybe not.
Well, you can only imagine how big Max Ferrari's eyes got watching him go, "Ooh, what is Henry gonna do here?"
Speaking of going over, is that an elbow there from Wilson?
Well, as soon as it's convenient, we'll try and get a look at it, but yeah, Sabac dropped like a sack of potatoes. Well done from Metusela. Well, that's clearly something they've worked on in training, because that's the third time we've seen Becker call for it and just dart in behind everyone. Final few minutes of half number one. Not much separating the two sides. Forge looking a little bit more lively in the attack. The York defense hasn't made any critical errors yet. So back trying to scoop it in the path of the running on Rubens Pasillas. Ashnod Janssen going up top. Now Sebak. Foul will go against Cedric Toussaint. I think a little bit quicker, and Grant could have been played into the top side
that
of
was
the
my
park.
thoughts as well. He loves to take touches back. It's a clever little turn, but it just took the speed out of the attack.
You love the handball shout there. That one they'll get right.
I think this is where York United just miss a little bit of experience, maybe in the middle of the park. And you've got three young players under the age of 22 in Verhoeven, Toussaint, Johnson. Someone to really get a grip of this game. Verhoeven started really well. Kyle Becker's, I think, wrestled control.
Well, I think
back of the game for Forge.
And preferably, regardless of who Jimmy wants to start up top, whether it's Wright, whether it's Ulbricht, whether it's Ramirez, Petrasso has been so good just in behind, and they're a different team without him there. And Verhoeven's able to just slide left side of the midfield and fill that role too.
I think it gives you more defensively, but you know, I think that when I've seen York United play with the two in the middle of the park, almost a 4-4-2, they've been overrun at times in there.
No doubt about that early run from Ulbricht. Is that a hey, play me in sooner?
It's a straight run. I'm not sure it was on. You can see some frustration. I don't love that from Johnson, just throwing his arms up in the air. I think the moment was gone. Maybe a little Cruyff keep possession of the ball.
It's the 1 minute of time added on, as indicated by Yusri Rudolph. Becker's taking the ball off Johnston. Just don't think Forge has been quite as clinical in their passing today, Terry. Definitely agree that the pitch seems slow. They're not making it easier on each other.
And there's a lot of density in the middle of the field from York United. Rivero's inverted. Max Ferrari will come inside. Natural space is out wide.
Well, if they want to push for one last chance in this opening half, they have to go now. Ensa's going to get there long before Matusli. Won't even need to as that goes over the goal line.
I think it'll help Forge in the second half, actually playing into the wind a little bit. Anything in behind York United this half has just rolled into the hands of Nate Ingham.
Well, and how many times in the week of the CPL final in 2019 did we hear Tommy Whelan Jr. call this place a wind tunnel?
Right.
Ingham sends it away. Carly Shaw McLaren with 3 blasts of the whistle to bring the first half festivities to a close, and it is a stalemate in the 10th playing of the 9:05 derby. A couple of chances, a saved PK, perhaps a missed PK on the other side of the pitch. Regardless, plenty to dissect, plenty to discuss on our halftime show. It is the Come On match of the week. York United trying to close the gap on Valor for that 4th and final playoff spot. Let's hope for a goal in half number 2. Terry and I will step aside, be back for half number 2. In the meantime, we'll go back to studio with Wheels, KJ, and Ollie.
Volkswagen, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Make your getaway in the all-new Volkswagen Taos. see the city in a whole new light. Or change course entirely. Because even the best laid plans need an escape plan. Whatever your adventure, the all-new Taos is always game. Volkswagen.
Kyle Larrett, he's in all alone. Is this it? Kyle Larrett! We're moving on. Milan Borjan feels it. Canada knows it. It's time to celebrate Canada. The Canadian men's national team is moving on. Canada has done it. Bring on the octagon. Bring on Mexico. Bring on Honduras. Bring on the United States. And bring on the rest. 14 games starting in September. That's all that's left between Canada and a first World Cup berth since 1986.
Welcome to Allstate. Insurance. Why not take your home along for the ride? Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands. Click or call to bundle today.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
This is your Come On Match of the Week. It's goalless through 45 minutes in Hamilton, Forge, and York United. Wheeler, Platt, KJ with you. First half, evenly played, I think, both ways. But there was some talking points, including a penalty that was given York United's way, and perhaps one that was generously gifted to York United. Let's take a look to see how it ended up playing out as Johnny Grant brought down Abzi inside the area. Penalty, no penalty, KJ.
I think I lean with penalty. I know Terry said probably not. And it's a hard one because we haven't got a lot of angles. But when you look at this, it looks like a genuine... Well, first of all, he's missed the ball. And it does look like a bit of a genuine stomp on the toe. I mean, it's very, very close. You can see Bobby Smirniotis' opinion on it, Ollie. But as we pause there, there does seem a bit of contact there.
Yeah, I think he steps on his foot. So is it a lot of contact? No. But you get stepped on the foot, you're going to go down. I don't really blame Abzi in that instance. He's going to go for the penalty kick. So I think it was a penalty. Good little contest between those two players, two very good, very athletic wing-backs on that side. But yeah, I think Abzi got the better of him there.
It's this that sells
there
it,
is,
right? It's the way that he throws down his body. Let's hear from the man himself, Abzi, and whether or not he thought the penalty was well earned.
Diedien, goalless here at the half, but obviously the big moment of the first half was the penalty, John Grant taking you down in the box. There's some debate as to whether that was actually a penalty or not. Take us through the play from your perspective.
So yeah, we got a big chance to get the win today. We're here, we know what we need to do, and yeah, unfortunately we missed these chances, and we're gonna have another chance in the second half. We're gonna win this game.
You had the big chance, obviously, with the penalty. Henry coming up with a big save. What do you guys have to do in the second half to find the 3 points here?
Yeah, we have other chances too. We play good. We're 0-0, nothing's done, and yeah, we need to finish our chances. That's the big things. I think for me.
Thanks very much, Diedien. Best of luck in the second half.
Thank you.
I watched the leaders debate on Thursday night. That answer was eerily similar. Not answer the question at all. So Terry was right. No penalty should have been given.
He was avoiding that one.
Well, as Dunfield did say on the call, justesse, some justice for those who believe it shouldn't have been a penalty, but perhaps the penalty should have been retaken as Rivero was saved. A good stop by Tristan Henry, Ollie.
It was a good save, but as we're going to see in a second here with the slow-mo replay, he's half a yard off his line, Tristan Henry. I think the linesman needs to spot this one and order the retake. You can just see it here, and we'll pause it. Or you can see quite clearly as he comes off the line. There it is. He's a good distance off the line, gives him a little bit of an advantage. It's not a great penalty. It's a good save from Henry, but I think he probably should have been penalised there.
Yeah, not a great penalty, and I don't know whether he'll get the next one. He has already got two already in this league, Rivero, but now, you know, Ulbricht scored in the Can Champ as well from there, so maybe he'll get the next one. This rule, for me, there's a fine line between being really pedantic and making sure that they're not getting an advantage. I think it falls on the getting an advantage line. I never want to be calling a guy if he's just an inch off the line, but I do think there's enough off the line there to say that he got a distinct advantage to make the save. We don't want to become a league, much like the, you know, when the Women's World Cup became that and they had to go through and change the rule pretty quickly. You don't want to be something that just changes everything and you're calling everything back. But I do think that's unfair. If you're from York and you're looking at that, you're going, that should be retaken, and there's a legitimate reason for it.
No VAR. That's the assistant referee. That's their job. It's up to them to make that call. Not given. We are still goalless through 45 minutes. We'll get into how the rest of the first half played out, where the teams can improve, what we liked, all that still to come. Rivero with the missed penalty. Tommy Wheeldon Jr. is watching from home saying, well, why couldn't I get a penalty last week? It's goalless in Hamilton.
That should be your only focus. Focus on yourself, focus on your own path, and the one thing I know, being involved in this game for many years at different levels, is you usually get what you deserve.
Who's this game for? For those just making their start? Or those with a whole city on their back? For those who are always game, or those who are pioneers? For those who are chasing glory, or is it for all of us? Volkswagen.
The FIA World Rally Championship pits drivers, co-drivers, and production-based cars against some of the most brutal and unforgiving terrain on the planet. Watch World Rally Championship only on Red TV Canada.
WestJet, celebrating 25 years of connecting Canadians.
This is your Come On Match of the Week, a very evenly played first half of play. It's kind of what you come to expect when two teams play for the fourth time in such a short period. One of the players that we're keeping an eye on coming into today's game has been the impressive Aliman Cisse, the Forge midfielder. What did you see from him, KJ, over the first 45 minutes?
Yeah, I could honestly watch the game just watching him because he's that good. You know, he brings everything. I love him and Becca and their partnership together. It's a great partnership with the quality that Cisse covers. Just look how difficult it is to play through these two because of the way that they read. You know, you've got a back five there, and then Cisse and Becca close down the space right away. Don't let the player turn. In this sense, it's Becca on Toussaint, and then Cisse straight into midfield in Verhoeven and creating that turnover. That's all because of the pressure that he comes on. Again, from a set piece, just pulls them back, forces a turnover again with a bad misplaced pass, all because of Cisse reading the game and the energy that he brings. Again, you can see here, this time in a higher position, recognizes the misplaced pass right away, drives forward at this point, doesn't just stop, and then creates a great opportunity, just needing somebody on the end of that. Again, all from reading the game at such a high level, and of course, he's a player that can run for days. He just keeps winning the ball back again in this moment. It's a great opportunity, probably the best chance of the half from Navarro off the post. But Bobby Sminiotis once told me after a game he could go out and play another game, and he's that kind of player, Ollie.
Yeah, the physical side of it is unbelievable, and I think, you know, we focus on that, and I understand why, and we focus on it with a lot of players. N'Golo Kante is the one I think of who has some similarities to Cisse in the way he can cover grounds. But it's like you mentioned, KJ, it's the reading of the game that makes that relevant, right? Makes it work. The athleticism, it doesn't mean anything if you can't use it and apply it in the right situations. So for me, it's the way he understands the opposition's build-up patterns. It's the way he just senses, you know, maybe an opponent's receiving the ball with his back to the play, and so that's a good time to press. Maybe the pass isn't very good and it's going to be difficult to control. He's going to go and pressure. He's so good at identifying those moments to just step and press, and then he puts his athleticism to use.
A lot of good work through the midfield. The two number 9s, not all that involved. Pasillas, quiet half. Olbrecht as well for York United. Where's the goal going to come from here?
Yeah, it's interesting because Forge are playing that system where Sabac plays as a false 9 and they spread Navarro and Woodman's passes the other way. So it's like, okay, now there's a lot to like about that because it brings Sabac in the game, but as you alluded to, they haven't got that runner in that play that we showed there that's getting in behind. And for York, I think that they started really well and then they obviously didn't get the ball out wide enough, and they're going to get Olbrecht in the game a little bit more.
Yeah, they have. I think Pasillas just looks more comfortable playing as that out-and-out central number 9. Wouldn't be surprised to see that change.
Right. A lot to play for. York can draw level with 4th place Valor if they come away with the full 3 points here today. Perhaps no, refreshment break. What do you call it? Hydration break in the second half. Come on, we're in September now. The game's gone soft. It hasn't played out that way. So let's see what the second half has in store. Some guy named Adam Jenkins, some clown. He's on the second half call alongside Terry Dunfield. It's coming up as your Come On Match of the Week.
WestJet, celebrating 25 years of connecting Canadians.
This just in, Come On have announced a multi-year deal as the official sports betting and online casino partner of the Canadian Premier League. In other news...
Come on!
Come on. Come on.
Come on!
Come on!
Come on!
Come on! Come on!
Come on! Yeah! Come on! Come on!
Yes!
Come on! Come on!
Come on, sports betting and online casino.
Come On, the official sports betting and online casino partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Just about time for half number 2. We are at Tim Hortons Field, the 9:05 derby between York United and Forge FC in our Come On Match of the Week. It's Adam Jenkins and Terry Dunfield with you here for another 45 minutes of action, the final half of this double-header Saturday here in the CPL. Terry, a stalemate. Who's the happier of the two managers from your perspective?
Smirniotis. Smirniotis for sure. I think Forge were just starting to go to work as we came into halftime. You can see in transition, they're very vertical, they're aggressive, they're going straight to goal. Maybe just pick their moment when maybe it's not on to secure possession and set up their attack, a little bit more patience, shift York United around. Might just get a little bit more joy, some more final acts. I thought Becker grew into the game nicely. I think York United will just be kicking themselves at him. Missed penalty. I agree with what KJ said. It's sometimes pedantic to call Henry for coming off his line, but I think there was enough there that the penalty should have been retaken. Still not sure either way whether it was a penalty or not. It's tough to see from our angles.
Well, and I liked how you put it too. If you've seen that replay 8 or 9 times now and you're still not sure, then your gut says no. But it's in the past. We are underway. It's half number 2. Forge out of Hamilton, the hometown side tonight. They wear orange and white. The visitors, York United from North York, in blue and green stripes with blue shorts and blue socks. Adam Jenkins, Terry Dunfield with you this afternoon.
What happened to our nice pictures that used to come up?
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't seen those in a little bit of time. The best is because you weren't here when we filmed them the first time. So I think I look over my shoulder, I point back at you, and your little video just doesn't acknowledge me at all, which is fitting based on this relationship. But yeah, that's a good point.
It was pre-pandemic weight as well.
That's why I got a social distance now. You'll be bottom right, I'll be bottom left. I think what I'm interested to see.
Was that subtle enough to get them back?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Usually you got to follow the bribes for our graphics team. It's just the way it works here. No, I'm curious to see, Terry, how both managers use their subs. Obviously, you got Petrasso on the bench after a knock. You got Babuli coming back. 2 difference makers, but in the grand scheme of things, is this the environment that you rush it if you don't think either of them are quite ready?
Yeah, I'd be thinking almost a double change if I'm Jimmy Brennan. Look to bring Wright and Petrasso on.
Yep. Really
put those 3 center backs of Forge under pressure.
Thompson, too, if he's good to go. Obviously, York United supporters would love to see him back in the 11.
Yeah, start getting him some minutes, some reps before that TFC game. A couple of home games coming up. Sure, the sports science team have him on a minutes limit, but for sure.
Oh, look at the spin and the delivery for Abzi. Trying to get a step on Samuel. A rocket off the left boot that does not miss that near post by much, but that is all created by Isaiah Johnston.
There we go. There's Abzi back in the attack. Nice slip pass. Just got caught under his feet. He never really got away from Samuel. Comes over hard. Hard recovery run. Kind of just sclaps it into the side netting.
Turned over, here's Alvaro Rivero getting the better of Cisse that time. Ulbrich leaving it for Toussaint. Clearly, York coming out of the gates firing. Very aggressive towards goal. Toussaint a little bit frustrated to not get that on target.
Yeah, Max Ferrari's frustrated as well. He wanted it. Toussaint has to hit that, doesn't he? I agree very much on the front foot. York United, nice combination play on the edge of the box.
Unselfish from Ulbrich too.
Want to see more from Ulbrich.
Well, Terry, you bring it up.
Just more of a presence up top.
No, absolutely. It's funny how they have such 3 different looks with Wright, with Ramirez, with Ulbrich.
I think with this win too, Adam, you can really look to pin Forge in here too, own their half of the pitch.
Explode out down the stretch especially. There you see the corner flags flapping in the breeze. Forge making their way for the first time to their side of the pitch as it is Garvin Miche-Metusala to take the throw. Well, more pressure from York United, and Tristan Henry's expecting it at this point, coming well out of his box to lay claim to that.
Yeah, players had some sugar at halftime, or Jimmy Brennan's gotten stuck into them. 2 wide players, Rivero and in particular Max Ferrari, just they invert nicely inside, which opens up space for Insa and Abzi to bomb forward.
Terry, you talk about the win. That was a switch attempt from Kyle Becker that just got caught and went about 5 yards back from where he played it.
Remember back in grassroots football, you couldn't get goal kicks out of the box at times when you had the win.
5, 6 years old, and
then you'd sub in the center back to take the goal kicks. Everyone's lined up around that.
That was
around
back,
the 18.
Oh, don't forget too, that's back in the old rule where no one could play it before it leaves the 18-yard box either. So you're standing there willing it to come towards you.
It wasn't the beautiful game.
It isn't always. Good play from Navarro. Forcing that turnover. Now he's back on it with Dominic Zator. Out to challenge him. Grant at full speed gets around Abzi too. Henry diving and getting his hands to it. Pasillas and then Metusala. First header comes from Rivero.
A little hesitation from Pasillas. I love the extra touch from Grant to get to the end line. just opened up that angle nicely.
Crutzen out to the left side once more. 2 Forge players running towards this spot, Pasillas and Navarro. First cross denied, still with Forge. Crutzen a little bit more forward, finds Metusala. Stay back, off the chest. Surveying his options, finds Grant. Heavy touch that time.
Spent a lot of time with Brennan at TFC, almost too much time, but I'm sure he's thinking, I can tell you exactly what he's thinking. How the heck has he got time to bring that down on his chest in the box?
Now, who would say they spent too much time with the other? Is it Jimmy spending too much time with you, or are you spending too much time with him?
Neither of us were short for words. No, I miss taking a coffee with him before games.
We did a One Soccer feature early, we had filmed it just before the pandemic.
Okay.
I think we released it on YouTube, and I think it was Stolly and Brennan at some cafe in North York, so I can only imagine they have the best spots figured out well by now.
Stolly's a coffee specialist.
Speaking of specialists, here's Verhoeven. Really grown in and just taken on this set-piece role for York United. Anything outside of about 25 yards is all Verhoeven. Abzi will take the odd try and goal as well. Cisse going for another one of his long jaunts, dispossessed. Rivero and Abzi combining.
Good idea from Abzi. How's that from tenacity? Cisse goes past Toussaint and he continues to track back, make a play.
$3,449 the official attendance at Tim Hortons Field today. Some traveling support, I'm sure, as well. It's so tough to beat.
It's a good number. Let's get that number a little bit higher, don't we?
Do not disagree.
Close to 20,000 on opening day.
It was before my time at One Soccer. I remember I was working at the CBC still at that point, doing that game. Just remember being so excited to be involved with it in any capacity. Now to obviously be here. Becker just drew it in, waiting. Finally unleashes. Waited just long enough, and Ingham knew where he wanted to put that.
He almost caught it too sweet. Right into the gut of Ingham. Very much a two-footed player, Becker.
Ulbrich leaves it because he knew he was offside. Ferrari and Johnston both. Miscommunication between the two. One of them has to get a toe to it at least.
Going right to left with that wind, it just picks up that little bit of pace. Thought Henry's starting position was maybe a yard deep. You thought one of them were gonna get there. Just would have taken a touch to go around Henry. But yeah, that was a tough technique from Kyle Becker on his left foot.
Sit back, receives from Grant, sends it back his way. Johnston backtracking. Grant lifting a high cross that's going to go all the way across the 18, and it's received by Josh Navarro. A few touches to his right, and then passed back.
You're not getting past Ensa.
Again, they dupe you into thinking they're playing it back, and then immediately back towards the winger. It's Becker now. Cisse shows for him. This time it's Hertzen and Cisse connecting, looking for Kyle Becker. Too slow on that pass, and away goes Krasnovic Ensa.
The 1-2 is too easy in the middle of the park, and that's what Verhoeven gives up a little bit. He's a quality footballer. He's got a wand of a left foot. Here we see that ball in depth. Good goalkeeping from Henry. It's a tough technique. not sure the pass was on to Navarro. Good decision to take the strike on. Just defensively, need to see a little bit more from Verhoeven. I don't think Jimmy Brennan trusts him in a 2 in midfield. He's got to play in a 3. Quality football going forward.
I think that's just one of the realities of this league is you got to balance competing and developing. And by the time they are the finished product, the finished football that you talk about, they're usually being sold on to bigger and better things. But that is definitely the part of his game that I think can grow as well.
And I think it's just got to be an attitude to not get beat in those moments. It's not just do the minimum. Again, there, steps out, gives up space, and Forger in behind him.
Grant. Macias. Becker was nearby, instead it's Sebac. Becker starting a run, the Belgian spinning around on the dance floor, Sebac off the post! Wow, what an effort from Paulo Sebac! That's 2 off the iron now, Terry.
When Sebac came to the league, Smirniotis was absolutely buzzing about him, how good he was. What a replacement from Tristan Borges. This is the best thing I've seen him do in CPL. Creative, technique, final product, create something out of nothing. He is so unlucky that that doesn't hit the post and go into the back of the net. Outstanding play.
Well, that certainly would have been an entry to goal of the year. I can't wait for the CPL top 50 goals of the season this offseason. How on earth are the producers going to come up with a list for that? Could almost make a top 50 near makes too. Hamzy Bacchia leaves it for Rivero Johnston. Thinking about the shot, taking the shot, Henry, full sprawl again. Opportunities on both ends of the pitch.
Took Alistair Johnson a second to load. He thought about passing, then why not? Looks a similar dive to the penalty save. He's pumped.
I'll blame myself for this one, Terry, because at halftime we were talking about the game at BMO Field. That is the first Alistair Johnston slip-up I've heard from you. Isaiah. Both promising young Canadians, to be fair. To be fair,
I've got Alistair Johnson in my working memory right now. And our academy team at TFC this morning played Aurora FC. So we're talking about him.
Henry again, come on! No pun intended, I swear to you that was unintentional, but how many times? 3 now, first time he's had to go to the left, Terry.
Henry saved me, because that would have been in the highlights if that goes in, and I'm talking absolute rubbish. Wow, what a save that is. That's gonna be in the highlights. Good technique from the center half, Sator.
Well, right now it's York asking the more serious questions. Abzi, half volley blocked by Navarro, another corner to come. 5 now for York United, none for Forge.
I know I've gone on about the wind a little bit. With that wind, that'll just drag the ball into the net. You can really wrap your foot around it here. York United causing chaos in that 6-yard box. So many numbers.
Verhoeven. Wilson watching it come back.
It's the wrong technique. I don't know why he goes with the flat one. Bring out the whip.
Wilson across now. Too much pace in behind it, but it will sit up for Verhoeven. Ferrari sliding to the right to provide an option. He receives the pass as Cisse comes out to challenge him. Ferrari trying to go in between. He has Max Ferrari! What a hit from Max Ferrari! One of the best goals he has ever scored. Excuse me, Terry, I'm so emotional by Ferrari's hit. A wonder strike. Second game getting the better of me, but not getting the better of Max Ferrari. He'll be smiling for days after that one.
Comes out of nothing, creates it himself. Oops, see you later. Off the post and in. Only he'll know what his intentions were, whether it was a cross or he's picking out the top bin. What a change of pace.
Well, Manny Aparicio did that to the Cavalry. Other side of the pitch, other post, but same result. Ferrari and Aparicio with goal of the week contenders. York finally break through at the hour. Just felt like it was coming, didn't it, for them?
They've been a different side since halftime. Nice rejig from Jimmy Brennan. I think having the wind behind you makes a huge difference. But I don't want to take anything away from that goal. A moment of brilliance from Max Ferrari. We've said that a few times this season.
Well, quickly back to the other side now. And the attacking third, our Forge. A very different looking corner kick as they break. Pasillas tracks it down. Zator claims the header first. Thoroughly entertaining
chance here.
15 minutes this is, and we can add another layer to it. It's a 4-on-2. Back comes Samuel to get in position as well. It's back with the goal scorer Ferrari. Leaves it for Isaiah Johnston across the box. All alone, tap in, double down. York 2, Forge 0 as the counter finally comes off for the guests. How many times are you gonna have to ask your goalkeeper to bail you out?
This is a proper counter. York United win it at their edge of the box, and they're off to the races here. Look at this patience here from Max Ferrari to allow Isaiah Johnson to get around him. Just puts the ball into a dangerous area. Henry tries to make a play on it. Loose ball falls to Rivero. He ain't gonna miss from there. Love the patience on the counterattack to allow it to develop. Big time run from Johnson to get around Max Ferrari. The detail in the little slip pass in depth is excellent. And then just numbers in the box. Big second goal.
Rivero now up to 5 on the season. And Terry, you talk about the patience in the build-up. How much does that speak to where Max Ferrari is mentally? He just scores a wonder goal. You're in that position. Most players, I think, especially the younger players, like, I'm going again.
Yeah,
Here's my brace, it's on.
Exactly.
And he just waits, gives it to a teammate, and then that goal happens because of him. All around, great team counter.
And I think it's initiated by Isaiah Johnston's run, but he recognizes, look, the picture's changed here. Delay, delay, delay. And then just the detail in the pass. If it's heavy, it runs out of play.
Well, I don't think Forge had expected to be trailing by 2. They'll have to chip away. Becker, he's the motor in the midfield more times than not. He's gonna have to spur on this comeback attempt, but looky here, York on another counter. They don't have the numbers this time, but they do have the speed. It's out to Rivero, looking Ferrari all alone in the box. Well, talk about the braces on. Rivero takes it. Ferrari was wide open.
Reward him, you've got to give him the ball there. I know Rivero's thinking, if I get my technique right here, it's in the top corner, and it's not far. But Max Ferrari just runs 60 yards at full pelt to get the ball there. Reward your teammate, give him the ball. Again, York United, fantastic in transition. Forge just laboring here a little bit.
Yeah, we were wondering before. Now, Rivero's going to give Samuel a hug. I don't think he wants to hear about it. It should definitely be a booking for Rivero. And it's just absolutely needless. You're up by 2. Well, now how things change for Forge. They're not going to concede, give up the game. Of course, they're going to play through for the final half an hour, but it's going to get to the point where it changes how Smirniotis manages this final half an hour with that congested schedule coming up. And if that, whether it's Rivero putting it top bin or finding Ferrari, if it's 3-0, this game is definitely over.
I think you've got to be fair to your fans at the game today that you don't let this one go. Still think you're in it at 2-0, but I'm looking to my bench now. It's not enough right now. Football's a crazy game. That's the back chance goes in, you're 1-0 up, and it's a different game. seen a ton from Passius up top.
I think the remarkable thing right now with York, those few chances that have just transpired, they're not surprising Forge at all. They're sitting back, they're waiting, and away they go, and it's just 2 goals. The first one, you obviously can't do anything about, and then the second one is just, you don't hustle back enough, no one's there to pick up the wide open man.
Yeah, I got to give credit to York, but I agree. And I think it's perfect for their style of play, their identity. Now, when you go up 1-0, you can sit back, you can absorb some attacks, and then go exploit that space. Here's the subs that we spoke about.
Well, it is Babuli and Chouanier coming in. Lowell Wright will enter. Julian Ulbricht up top, Nicholas Hamilton. So double switch from each manager.
Excited to see Hamilton operate. Heard lots of good stuff about him. This is the first time York United have really excited me in a long time.
Entering the game, numbers 11, Nicholas Hamilton, and number 80, Ulbricht. Forge FC substitutions in the 67th minute.
Well, what do these subs, as we get them on track? Ulbricht out for Wright. Navarro exits as well.
Entering the game, numbers.
What does it say about the mentality from each manager here, Terry, to you?
That Smirniotis still feels like there's something in the game. You know, he's bringing his big dogs on, he's going for it.
Rivero, he was the second goal scorer. In comes Hamilton. 67th minute, Forge needing a pair. You get the young, fresh legs of Lowell Wright. 3 substitutes in a pocket of space, a radius no bigger than a meter, all battling together. Abzi flinging himself forward, not gonna win his foul that time.
I think for Forge to play their football here, Adam, they have to match the energy right now and intensity of York United. It's not just gonna happen. Before you can play your football, you've got to compete. And it's tough now. You're going into this, to the wind here, into this tornado.
Into the tornado.
Tornado.
The weather's supposed to be my thing, man. The thunderstorms and the delays we have, we've established that I'm chief meteorologist of one song. Abzi's cross is blocked by Cisse. The throw will stay just to the right of that corner flag. They're battling the deficit. They're battling the conditions. I think more than anything right now, they got to bring the supporters back in too.
A little bit of that. I say York, they smell blood. They smell like there's more in it for them.
And I think Jimmy Brennan's obviously going to be elated with where they're at, but not going to jinx anything. I'll even knock on wood for you, York United supporters. But until he hears the final whistle and gets the 3 points, he's not overlooking anything. Because we've seen how quickly things can turn. Just gift wrapping Halifax a point on Monday. And I think those are the kinds of games where you can just chalk it up to a wild, who could have predicted that kind of situation, or you can use it to galvanize and say, look, something we've been talking about for quite some time now. It is literally just on us to figure this out.
Yeah, I think you have to, and it's a tough video session. Look at the goals. Look how the goals happened, and did we manage outlets? What could have we done different in possession? How do we protect the lead better? And here's an opportunity to get it right now.
Against the champs. No matter how much the gap is closing between these two, Forge is still the team to beat until someone else lifts that North Star shield.
These are big 3 points too, with real snug race for 4th right now.
Well, York would be level with Valor. They are in the live table. And while I think Jimmy Brennan's side can be frustrated to not have picked up as many wins as they'd been hoping for, only on 4 entering the day. The 7 draws is massive. If you're not going to win, don't lose the game. And it's kind of ironic, the difference, as we see Nick Hamilton taking a ball right to the nose. But the irony, the juxtaposition, if you will, between Forge and York, where Forge's record 9-1-6. They're either winning or they're losing. For York, at least they're getting something out of almost every game they've played. Today it's in line, 20 minutes to go to be rewarded. Well, that's a foul throw. How was that allowed to continue? Absey was off both of his feet. There was Henry off the line, and like, I don't know if he slipped, but I've never seen a professional footballer make a meal of a throw-in quite like that. Cisse has intercepted the ball from Nicholas Hamilton. Becker, Choinière, now Cisse. Samuel not really giving Cisse an option. Finally he does. Well, right. Somehow gets in behind Ashnodi Johnston and gets his studs up on Metusala. Inadvertently, but it is a foul.
Ball's got a stick. Nice pass from Toussaint. Shapes like he's going wide to Max Ferrari and then right into the feet of Luell Wright. I think those are the moments Luell Wright can just work on his game a little bit. He doesn't have to go and make a play there. Just hold the ball up, maybe draw a foul.
Well, whatever flow we had previously established about 5 minutes ago, Terry, is gone with the wind. Well, all the way down. Clock the friend of York now. Verhoeven showing up quickly. Trying to catch Forge a little bit off guard and unorganized. Ferrari first time over the head of Hamilton. Absey back in, rushed a little bit, Terry. Hamilton. Verhoeven and Absey. Quick release across face of goal. Johnston, does he pull down the defender? Yes, he does.
Been excellent today. I like him in that number 10 role. Gives him a little bit more freedom to get forward. He's covered every single blade of turf.
That's right, important distinction.
And I think with him as a number 10, he gives you the ability to press a little bit higher. He's not your typical number 10 that just really wants the ball and wants to play. Maybe like a Sabac, with all due respect. I think he allows you to really step out and get pressure on the back line defensively.
Well, Jordan Wilson wants to get in on the attacking fun. He steps up to continue this play. Hamilton, a good fake. Dom Samuel bought hook, line, and sinker. Absey jumps around Choinière.
Just has to add that final product to his game. You know where he's gonna go, but he still goes past you. He's got such quick feet. Just almost sucks you in a little bit, gets to the end line, and unfortunately the cross let him down.
Well, this is better link up from Forge. Pasillas showing some maturity, staying on side, but he wanted it. Don't give up on it. You can still come to your feet.
There's the Forge we know. Kyle Becker took the low-risk pass. Why did he take... Pasillas, I agree with him. I get the frustrations. Just can't go through those central channels.
It's just a switch they can flip, Terry. It's a little bit rocky, it's a little bit all over the place, and then you just have Kyle Becker saying, okay, simmer it down, back to what we do best, and away they go. This time it's Verhoeven leading the counter. Johnston slowly making his way up as well. Well, how confident is Max Ferrari feeling right now?
Really can go either way. This time he foot. It's a good save from Henry. Does well to not spill it, control the rebound.
Babuli sent back by Wilson. Crutzen keeps it in. Final 15 minutes before added time. Babuli's been rather quiet since coming on in a double switch with David Choinière. Both of them have received a touch now towards the penalty spot. It's going to sit for Babuli. This is his office, turning, firing, but deflected. And Ingham cleans up the loose ball.
Such a good defender, Ensa. Does well to close down the shot of Mo Babuli. Forge found a nice overload on the right-hand side. Choinière just puts it into a good area. Zator can't clear it. But Ensa quietly having a good game at right back.
He hasn't nearly been as busy as he was in the first half. Took a lot of contact, and as Forge continues to press.
To claw back this 2-goal deficit.
Well, in comes Johnny Sun. His third CPL appearance. Having played just 7 minutes so far in his Forge CPL career. He relieves Kyle Becker in minute 78. One more look at that opportunity. I think it's just a miss hit.
Yeah, you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring it back over top of Ingham to the top left-hand corner. A little bit of topspin on it. Get us ready for this big tennis game coming up.
That's right. Team Layla.
Such a cool story. Ooh, nice pass between the lines.
He's had some work to do to try and get on the other end of that. Overstruck by Sebac. Right idea, though.
He's a little bit like Alphonso Davies. And take this with a grain of salt, Abzi. In that grains. In that he can be a little bit out of structure, but because he's so quick to recover, he can get back and almost close that space down. Are you having that? Grains.
I've heard better analogies from you. I see what you're saying. I'm not trying to completely shoot it down.
Just for a moment there, you think Forge are in and he's able to get back.
I will say, a comparison between the two, they both like genetically blessed by the gods, like the perfect build for an athlete. You can pretty much play them anywhere. They're strong, they're fast, they're lean. Well, more comparisons, both born outside of Canada, both call Canada home now. Abzi, the Moroccan-born. Mo, there's no VAR. You're not going to change your mind. A little bit of antics from York as well.
Sean McLaren does well to keep control here. The threshold has definitely changed on handballs in the last 6 months.
I don't know how you don't give that, though.
Yeah, his arm's high.
Arm is almost fully extended away from his body.
Context of the game, too. It's you're 2-0 down. It's at Forge. Surprised she hasn't given it.
Well, she's going to be booking someone on the Forge bench right now.
A couple of difficult decisions for Sean McLaren. Probably go against her again on this one. I think it's a penalty. There's enough distance as well for Abzi to get his arm out away from it.
It's Kid Saladopoulos who received the yellow card.
It's an awful clearance from Zator. It clearly strikes him in
Sit back, finds Babouli. Really coming into his own in his return to the pitch.
His link-up play's been outstanding.
Johnny Sun goes down, and that time Abzi will concede the foul.
Forge are coming. How clean has his link-up play been, Babouli?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, but since Becker came out, Sun came in, Babouli's moved more centrally, right?
Yeah, I think it's just finding some space off the front. Just living in between Verhoeven and Toussaint.
I'll tell you, a level-headed Forge is a scary side to face. And animated, angry.
And this is what I was waiting for, this little bit of urgency, intensity. I've seen that in the last 5 minutes. They've upped their level.
Well, York has scoops it towards the corner flag. It'll set up well. Toussaint putting the pressure on Sebak.
Sebak did well there. He was honest. If he goes over, I think it's a foul. Love watching Forge just go to work in wide areas. Their rotations, their exchanges, their movements, excellent. Just opens up gaps.
Here's the look at the Crutzen chance. I think that's in the goal, if not for Ingham. Even though he's diving away, he's reaching back across his body at that point.
An interesting one. I'm not sure it's textbook, but it worked. Got the job done.
Nothing I've ever done in my life is textbook, so I'll embrace that. Just over 5 minutes after the impromptu conference call with coaches and players. We'll have a couple of minutes added on, I'm sure, with the substitutions as well. 3 seems about right now.
That has to be a penalty, surely. I'm trying not to dwell on it here, but
Johnston.
York have a player on their hands here, Adam. Isaiah Johnston. He's a player. Another one I'm excited to see play against TFC, see how he can handle himself at the next level alongside Max Ferrari.
Well, of course, you can find that game right here on One Soccer, the 22nd of September at BMO Field. Tickets are available. You can't make it to Toronto. You're a neutral supporter out of the city. Join us, 8 p.m. local. It's a busy day, that. 6 p.m. Halifax, Montreal, 8 p.m. Toronto, York, 10 p.m. Cavalry Pacific.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, absolutely, Terry. We got some time with Didi and Abzi getting some treatment. So, Terry, take your notes. 6 p.m. Wanderers hosting CF Montreal in Halifax. 8 p.m. BMO Field. York making the trip south to face TFC and the final match of the Canadian Championship. Trip Cooper situation.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Oh, Terry might have spoken too soon. You know how your bosses are always watching? Important correction from Kurt Larson. Games 5, 7:30, and 10, not 6, 8, and 10. 5 is the first, 7:30, 10, all times Eastern. Kurt Larson always has my back.
Another big day.
Oh, look at this ball. Cisse for Babouli going near post. Ingham was ready. Just sat up in slow motion for Mo Babouli, who's looked really good since sliding more centrally.
He's looked sharp. Great take.
Metusala tracking. Abzi first header to it. Johnny Sun gets ahead, so does Jordan Wilson. Stay back in Metusala. Roger Thompson. Great to call his name again. Back at home in the back line. Nearly slipping through that time. We're Forge. York will send it away nearing the 90th minute of the match. It's the hosts trailing by 2.
Brave goalkeeping. I think it ricochets off Ingham, then Thompson. 1 save, 2 save, 3 save.
2 doinks off the dome. 1, count them up. It's unfortunate. And Babouli can't get the header to it as well, and then takes the second when he lands on the turf.
Oh,
little bit stunned how they have still been kept off the board.
Great football, too. Great all-around football. Ingham, what a save that is. That would have made for an interesting extra time. A little bit of injury time. Mobabuli coming off the bench saying, yeah, I'm still the man, Pasillas. Young buck.
Well, I think everybody held their breath during that CONCACAF League tie when he came down hard and went right to his back.
Sometimes, too, you take your captain off and you play just a little bit freer. I know everything goes through Kyle Becker. He's been the best player in the league for 3 years. Seen a little bit at TFC with Michael Bradley. Players just take a little bit more ownership.
Lentz is still trying to shake the cobwebs out after that deflection he was certainly not expecting. Verhoeven, much to the dismay of the Forge FC supporters, stretching out a cramp.
Yeah, he's going Honduras here.
Interesting too, Terry, we had the drinks break in the first half, didn't have one in the second.
Point. What was it like on the sideline when Honduras were going down all the time?
It was more, what was it like on the sideline when Honduran fans were trying to fight Daniil Henry in the stands? That was the real extracurriculars.
Were you in the middle of it?
I was in the middle of Tejan Buchanan and one of the Honduran subs literally reaching across the tunnel at each other. There's no surprise to me that they rightfully were moved back beside their bench.
Jeez. So frustrating when the antics come out.
And Chouanier again.
His feet are so quick.
They go, and the more time that they can spend on this side of the pitch, the better. Our Extreme Battalion, the Ford supporters, not using their seats now, up on their feet, trying to do their part, be that 12th man. More game management coming up from Jimmy Brennan. Next break, Jordan Faria. Team defense that time. Pasillas trying to hold it up. Everyone knew the role there. Final minute of the allotted 5. Expect 1 or 2 more. But it's starting to feel, Terry, by the second, too little too late for Forge today.
Yeah, just running out of time a little bit.
Following the arc of the semicircle, and a harmless shot in the end. Something I noticed too. I expected it, but it's still good to see. Roger Thompson finally comes back on. Dom Zator is like, I've kept this armband warm for you. And the rightful captain took it over.
Good spot. Babuli's been excellent.
Yes, he has. And it's encouraging with the schedule they have coming up, because they're going to need him in CONCACAF again. They're going to need Borges again in CONCACAF. The king of CONCACAF, can't forget about David Chouanier. One final sub from Jimmy Brennan, more time off the clock. All in all, solid B+, A-, I'd say, for Verhoeven today.
Yeah, played his role in what should be a 2-0 win. Kept York ticking over nicely. Still think he needs to tidy up a little bit defensively.
Goal differential, not a whole lot more to gain here. Well, Wright fancying himself a strike.
He's worked his socks off since coming on, both Lowell Wright and Hamilton. Nice reverse pass.
This has got to be a bit cruel for Forge right now. They know it's over.
Yeah, it's tough at home. be a quiet changing room, I'd imagine, after.
Still have to defend the corner.
Just say a little bit flat today.
Well, that is all there will be. The 9:05 derby goes to York United. Terry, quick final thought from you.
Tons of energy, enthusiasm, pace, quality for Jimmy Brennan side. Reorganized at halftime, came out flying. This man
United beat their rival Forge. Gareth Wheeler alongside Oliver Platt, Christian Jack by virtue of this victory. The people of Winnipeg have been silenced for now because they're not alone in fourth place. That line right there, you might as well take it and erase it because York United have drawn level with the story of the bubble. Valor have gone all the way back. York has climbed that mountain. They're now level with Valor in fourth place. A big victory and a consequential one also with Halifax winning today. All of a sudden, this race for fourth spots got very tight, very close.
Perfect day of results for the neutrals, I think. 22, 22, 21. Like, it couldn't be set up any better. We've got York against Halifax next weekend on our match of the week, if I remember correctly. That's going to be a massive game. We start to get into the cross-conference, if you like, matchups where Valor's obviously going to come over and be facing some of these teams as well. So that race for fourth, I think, is going to be the story to watch the rest of the way.
Yeah, what a day. What a day in the Canadian Premier League, just getting narrower and narrower. Not a great day if you're a Valor fan, but I think a day that you'd expect some teams are going to start catching you based on the way they played, and they've had their adversity as well. But yeah, what a day for York, you know, to go there and win for the second time as well. The other thing about those standings is that you know York have lost less games than Forge. They haven't won as many games, but they don't lose games very often. And again, they found a way to win a game today where, you know, I was at the game when they won the game earlier this season at Forge, and I think even the most devout York fans would say we probably got away with one there. We got a goal out of nothing and then 70% possession. Today they didn't get away with anything. They deserved to win this game. They fought away, and you know what? I keep going.
Their best is when they're breaking on the counter-attack through players like Max Ferrari and Isaiah Johnston, who have such directness to their play. Ferrari obviously scores the first one, and then it's Rivero that tucks in that second one. Ferrari involved again, Johnston involved again. Just a brilliant counter-attacking goal.
Yeah, Rivero at the same end he scored the month earlier. It must be the trademark celebration right now in Canadian Premier League.
Is he silencing you or you?
I think you've been on the end of the feud.
I have definitely not said anything about
Nothing with Rivero for you, Wheels, but I think it is a bit of a trademark one. Maybe settled by Petrasso as well, who's done this.
This one as
That's
well.
getting pretty common as well. But yeah, great goal, and I'm with you. I think if you're Bobby Sminiotis, you won't like the way that you got broke down there. York are direct anyway, but that Jonathan Grant pass in there on the left foot just into nothing, just kind of it didn't help Forge at that moment.
Tristan Henry with the number of saves, saved the penalty in the first half as well. He did his part. Your Gatorade man of the match, vroom vroom, Max Ferrari. This player, I mean, he deserves all the plaudits he's getting right now because he's playing on another level. Goal of the weekend right here.
Yeah, one of my favorite if you're them on this current form on.
Yeah, they're relying on him. I was looking at some of the under-21 Player of the Year candidates during the game. Karifa Yao, Jonathan Sirois, his teammate Isaiah Johnston, but I think Max Ferrari is the front runner, and I think he's creating a bit of separation from the pack right now. I love the way he seems to have developed this as the season's gone on. He's a lot more comfortable on his left foot, and he sometimes dribbles leading with his left foot, so he's able to come inside there, creates the space for Johnston to overlap on the outside, and then he can really hit it on his right as well, as we saw with that goal. He's a fantastic young player.
He's played everywhere. He's played left back, right back, on the wing, and with Toussaint and Johnston.